Hey everyone, today I'm going to be showing you how to convert degrees into radians, and then vice versa, how to convert radians into degrees. So first off, we've got the question, express the following angles in radians by multiplying by pi over 180. The whole point of radians is to get into a form which doesn't really have any decimal places and is considered as exact form. In this case, we've been given that we need to multiply by pi over 180, and in pretty much every case, you need to multiply by pi over 180 in order to get radians form. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So for A, you get 90 degrees times pi over 180. Now, the first thing you want to not do is not chuck it into your calculator. You really don't want to chuck this into your calculator. You want to try and simplify it down. So this 90 degrees, it's over 1, right? So let's just consider what would it be. It would be 90 pi over 180. Now, something that I like to do is I like to put that 90 over 180 into my calculator, and you should get something like 1 over 2. So then that just indicates that it's 1 pi, which you can just write as pi, over 2. So your final radians form is this. That is our radians form. Okay, perfect. So I'll do up to letter C here, and hopefully you get the gist of what I'm trying to do. So for B, you have 45 degrees. Just leave it as 45, multiply by pi over 180, and we get something like 45 pi over 180. Now, doing the same thing as I did before is chucking the 45 over 180 into the calculator. You should get something like 1 over 4. So that indicates that it's pi over 4. Perfect. And then the last one, we'll just do C, 30 degrees times pi over 180. And you get something like 30 pi over 180. And in the calculator, if you put 30 over 180, you get 1 over 6, so therefore it's pi over 6. Okay, so basically we've just converted degrees into radians, and we've done that by multiplying the degree by pi over 180. Now, we don't actually do this in the calculator. You can figure it out without using a calculator, except for the bit where it's simplifying what the fraction is. And basically, you want to aim for an exact form, which is the radians form. Okay, perfect. Let's move down to radians into degrees. So once again, this exercise is taken from Cambridge 2 Unit, and we'll go through A to D. Okay, so for A, we get given pi, and it says that we can convert it back into angles in degrees by multiplying by 180 over pi. Before, we multiplied by pi over 180 to get radians formed. We're basically doing the opposite to get back to degrees. So pi times 180 over pi, and you end up getting something like 180 pi over pi. And now, what's obvious here? Well, in fractions, if you remember, if something's multiplying at the top and you've got the same thing at the bottom, you can just basically cancel these out, and you end up with 180 degrees. Oh, whoops, my bad. 180 degrees. So our answer for A would be 180 degrees. Okay, great. So we'll move on to the next one. B, 2 pi times 180 over pi, and you get something like 2, sorry about that, you get something like 2 times 180 times pi over pi. Now again, here you can cancel out these pi's, and you end up getting something like 360 degrees. Okay, great. We'll move on to C. So in C you have 4 pi, and doing the same thing as we did before, 180 degrees over pi, times 180 over pi, and you end up getting something like 4 times 180 times pi over pi. And once again, you can cancel these out, and you end up getting, if we just consider 4 times 180, you end up getting 720 degrees. And lastly, we'll do D. So that's pi over 2 times 180 over pi, and in this case, all you have to do is the same as you've been doing before. You get 180 pi over 2 times pi. Now if you see, the pi's cancel out, and you end up getting 180 over 2 over 2, and that ends up equaling 90 degrees. So we've just converted all these, oh sorry about that, we've converted all of these into degree form. So that's pretty much how you convert into radians and into degrees, vice versa, using the same equation kind of thing, the same type of thing, and you're multiplying, except it's just swapped around. So we'll just do a little summary right now so I can get all of this, set down pat. So generally, what we refer to as pi is 180 degrees. So obviously in that case, pi over 2 is 90 degrees, and so on. Okay, so that's one thing you should know. The next thing is that the first way you can convert into radians, so to convert to radians, all you have to do is multiply by pi over 180. And then note that you never ever do this multiplication just straight off the bat into your calculator. Okay, perfect. So we'll move on to the next thing, and that's basically to convert into degrees from radians. All you have to do, you have to multiply by 180 over pi. And once again, when you multiply by 180 over pi, don't use the calculator. So note, unless you're just simplifying the fraction, which I explained in both of them, but if you're not doing that, there's no need for the calculator. And this is pretty much the entire principle of converting into radians and converting radians back into degrees. Thanks for watching.